What's up guys, welcome back. This is Anime Crossover. You'll be watching What If Naruto was a game developer in Marvel Part 1. Now, let's begin. Chapter 1. In this alternate timeline, Sasuke, driven by an insatiable desire for power and profound grief over Itachi's death, ultimately makes the fateful decision to kill Naruto. He perceives Naruto as a representation of all that he has lost and is convinced that only by severing this last connection can he attain genuine peace and embark on a new beginning. The confrontation is intense, with both ninjas demonstrating their complete prowess, yet Sasuke's expertise in the Susanoo and his augmented skills ultimately lead to his victory. Naruto, injured and overcome, finds himself devoid of hope for recovery, as his chakra has been fully depleted and Kurama is unable to assist, having nearly exhausted his own chakra as well. An extended and distressing demise. Naruto experienced feelings of sadness and anger towards himself, reflecting on his decision to hold back against Sasuke in order to honor his promise to Sakura. Before his final moments, he expressed a desire for another opportunity. Fortunately for Naruto, the event transpired, though regrettably not in the manner he had envisioned. Instead of traveling back in time or entering a realm filled with magic, medieval settings, dungeons, or monsters, he found himself on a snow-covered mountain. A log cabin stood amidst a landscape of snow and surrounding trees. In the initial days, he felt a sense of excitement, envisioning the possibility of encountering a magical master, a dwarf blacksmith, or even a dragon, from whom he could learn. However, regrettably, none of these encounters materialized. Today, Naruto has spent a month on this remote mountain without any contact with others, and it is becoming increasingly frustrating for him. As Naruto prepared rabbit meat for consumption, an unexpected event occurred, breaking the monotony of his new life. System download has been successfully completed. Commencing preliminary operations, Naruto was taken aback upon encountering these messages. System initialization complete. Introduction. The target was chosen to utilize a beta system designed for transmigrated users. The system name is yet to be determined, however, the user retains complete access to all functionalities. Features. Users will utilize gaming points to create new games. Players will have the opportunity to earn unique items as in-game rewards, which can be exchanged for real-world value. The games developed by the user will be created using the platform provided by the system. As the user currently lacks a computer, they will receive one as a gift from the system, ensuring that only the user has access to the game development system. The greater the number of players engaging with the user's games, the more gaming points the user will accumulate. These gaming points can be transformed into advanced functionalities for the game or into valuable items for the user, including clothing, objects, and knowledge. Everything is accessible to the user. However, if the host is unable to create games that resonate with the audience, we will regrettably need to seek an alternative host. As the inaugural host, we will provide foundational insights into the contemporary world. A foundational understanding of the contemporary world includes insights into its political, economic, social, and technological dimensions. This encompasses an understanding of significant global events, contemporary issues, worldwide challenges, and the interrelation of various cultures and societies. Key competencies for successfully navigating today's world encompass critical thinking, adaptability, effective communication, technological proficiency, and emotional intelligence. Upon reviewing all this, Naruto gained clarity. The system began to instill knowledge in his mind, including basic computer literacy, an understanding of the internet, and the significance of technology in communication, business, and everyday life. Understanding significant technological advancements and scientific breakthroughs, along with their potential implications for society. Critical thinking. Evaluating information, recognizing biases, and developing informed opinions. Utilizing technology efficiently for communication, research, and various other applications. Comprehending and regulating emotions, fostering relationships, and demonstrating empathy towards others. Upon acquiring all that information, Naruto experienced a range of emotions. Initially, he was taken aback by the sudden introduction of a system and the wealth of knowledge it provided. However, This surprise soon gave way to a sense of sadness as he realized that the system was merely a tool for game development, rather than a means to enhance his strength. This revelation was particularly disheartening for him, as he felt a profound loss without chakra and the absence of karma. However, he quickly regained his enthusiasm upon discovering that he could utilize those gaming points within the game to acquire anything he desired, including additional knowledge. With enthusiasm, Naruto surveyed his small cabin and found that there was indeed a computer present. The computer presented a design that diverged from his expectations, featuring a distinctly futuristic aesthetic and a remarkably compact form. Upon powering it on, Naruto instinctively grasped its operation, encountering no difficulties in navigating its functions. Regrettably, he had only 3 programs installed on his computer: Game Developer, Game Analytics, Game Following. Despite thoroughly searching the entire computer, he found no additional programs and was unable to access the internet. This initially caused some frustration for Naruto, as he desired to connect to the internet to experience it firsthand. With a focused demeanor, Naruto selected the Game Developer app. A window manifested before him. What type of game are you looking to develop? Basic RPG 5,000 gaming points, Advanced RPG 50,000 gaming points. AAA RPG 500,000 gaming points. Basic Adventure 1,000 gaming points. Advanced Adventure 10,000 gaming points. AAA Adventure 100,000 gaming points. Basic FPS 500 gaming points, Advanced FPS 5000 gaming points, FPS AAA 50,000 gaming points. A variety of game genres appeared on Naruto's screen, each presenting distinct features within the available options. In the case of a basic FPS game, there were limited slots available for map creation, weapon development, and other features. As a top-tier first-person shooter, the user could create expansive maps, a wide variety of weapons, and more. At this moment, Naruto became somewhat contemplative. He possessed a total of 400 gaming points. At first, he considered purchasing items such as a television for his cabin or gourmet food. However, with the limited number of gaming points he possessed, it became clear that these aspirations would not be feasible, leaving little to no opportunity for personal purchases. While reviewing the list of game categories available for creation, Naruto noticed an item that piqued his interest. Basic Sandbox 200 gaming points, Advanced Sandbox 20,000 gaming points. AAA Sandbox 2 million gaming points. This game style exhibited the most significant variation in pricing among the different models. The game features both the most affordable basic model available in the store and the premium AAA model at the highest price point. However, Naruto understood the rationale behind the significant price difference between the models. The quality of a sandbox game is directly related to the level of freedom it provides to the player, which in turn necessitates a broader range of activities and options available within the game. Recognizing the game's affordable price, Naruto determined that this would be the model he would pursue. The low cost was a significant factor, and he was already aware of the optimal game concept to develop from the outset. A game that was relatively straightforward to develop, lacking in complex features, yet despite its simplicity, it successfully drew a significant number of players daily. Upon selecting the sandbox model, Naruto observed a swift decrease in his gaming points from 400 to 200 within a mere second. However, he remained confident that successfully developing this game would yield significantly greater rewards in the future. A game that made a significant impact, appealing to both adults and children alike. Minecraft. The game development system proved to be more straightforward than Naruto had anticipated. He was initially concerned that he had no prior experience in game development, particularly in programming. However, while engaging with the system's computer, Naruto realized that everything was considerably more straightforward than he had anticipated. If he required an item to function in a specific manner, he simply needed to specify that it should operate that way, and the system would seamlessly integrate the desired functionality as he envisioned. Using Minecraft development as an example, when he instructed the system to apply gravity to the sand and gravel blocks, the system would seamlessly interpret his intentions. He considered the possibility of envisioning Minecraft and instructing the system accordingly. However, this prompted a notification that caused him some apprehension. A fee of 50,000 gaming points will be necessary to accurately represent the host memory game. Due to the advanced functionalities of the host memory, an upgrade to Advanced Sandbox will be required, which entails an additional fee of 200,000 gaming points. Upon receiving this message, Naruto ceased his complacency and began to contemplate every element he would incorporate into the game independently. The majority of the game elements he could implement utilizing the fundamental system resources, as Minecraft is not a game with extensive features. Thus, he did not require a significant investment of gaming points in development. That is indeed the case, as he opted to utilize one of the earlier versions of the game. The game may not include the most recent updates such as the Caves update, Nether update, or Villager and Pillager update. However, it still offers a substantial amount of content, significantly more advanced than earlier versions of Minecraft in its previous world. Inquisitive, Naruto inquired of the system. Is it feasible to enable players to create mods for the game? While it is feasible, since the game is not created using any of the platforms available in this world, the user will need to allocate 50 gaming points to establish a mod development platform. That is quite favorable. I give my approval. While it may be somewhat costly, it remains a crucial component for this game. Naruto stated with a smile on his face. However, system, you mentioned that the game is not developed using any of the platforms available in this world. Can you explain how that functions? Naruto questioned. The game is developed on an advanced world platform, which minimizes the costs and time required for its creation. Out of the 200 points allocated for selecting the game style, 50% is dedicated to adapting the game for a suitable platform in this environment, while the remaining 50% is focused on the features incorporated within the game itself. An acceptable platform in this world? What do you mean? Naruto asked with a grimace. He imagined that this game would be played on a console or a computer. The Advanced World platform is for playing games where the player is moved to other worlds. But on this platform, if the player dies in the game, they also die in real life. That's why this platform needs to be changed so that only the player's consciousness goes to the game world. It also needs a security system that sends the player back to the real world if they die in the game. Naruto's hair sprang on end as he read this letter that was hovering in front of him. He thought he was making a normal computer game, but he was really making a program that sent people to other worlds. Would players die in his games if there wasn't a security system? Naruto felt better about it because there was this security system. He even got enthused over time about how fun it would be to play Minecraft in real life. He had seen footage of people playing Minecraft in VR before, but nobody really enjoyed it since they thought it was too odd and cramped. Some experts even stated it was because of the hardware limits at the time. But the system indicated that Naruto wouldn't have to worry about this limit and could enjoy the game to the fullest. He was much more worried about making the game better after that. He also purchased an additional 50 gaming points to add a bundle of shaders to the game environment to make the lighting look more authentic. It would be really unusual to go to another world where the light is feeble and the water doesn't reflect anything. After that, the graphics were great. The issue arose when he began to perceive that he had neglected certain aspects of the game. Naruto was worried and asked himself, what do I do? He played Minecraft for a long time, but remembering every brick, mob, and detail is a whole other story. Until he remembered that he still had 100 free points. System, is there anything I can do to help me remember everything about a game? Naruto asked with concern. For 50 gaming points, the user can buy a memory capsule. This capsule will help the user recall everything about a certain thing for 24 hours. The memory will start to fade after 24 hours if the user doesn't pay attention to it again. However, if the user really focuses on what he wants to remember, he can remember it again, although it won't be as easy. Using more than one memory capsule on something can make that memory last forever. Naruto smiled with satisfaction when he read that in the message that was floating in front of him. He might still save 50 gaming points after using the memory pod. He didn't think twice before buying the capsule and swallowing it. It stung a little at first, but as time went on, it only grew a little uncomfortable. until he fully adjusted to that recollection and resumed building Minecraft. Naruto was set on finishing Minecraft tonight. Finally, it's ready, Naruto muttered in a fatigued voice once he had completed going over the game. He had been awake for 21 hours working on Minecraft and looking for bugs till he couldn't find any more. I wish I had a lot of gaming points so that the system could play the game using only my memory. Sadly, I only have 50 points left, which is way less than the 50,000 points I need to do that. Naruto sighed and played with the computer. There was a test button in the game developer application. Naruto couldn't stop thinking about how the game would be after it was submitted. He was really looking forward to testing it right now, but he was so tired that he could hardly even go to the restroom. After washing the soiled dishes he used to eat the rest of the rabbit he had hunted, Naruto fell down on his bed and slept soundly. Naruto was excited to try out the game when he got up the next day. He put some wood on the fire to warm up, and then he eagerly hit that launch button on the software. Naruto was in a whole new area in the blink of an eye. Naruto was finally feeling warm again, not in the small hut he had lived in for the last month, which was surrounded by pine trees and a lot of snow. This is magic, he exclaimed with excitement as he gazed about. He saw everything he had imagined: verdant grass, oak trees, lambs, cows, and more. The only thing that made him feel a little uneasy was that everything was square. But this time, everything around him was square, like the whole universe was squared to match itself. This was different from the Minecraft he saw on his computer screen. Naruto went toward a tree with emotion and did something he had always thought it would be like. Naruto hit a tree. But the trunk of the tree didn't shatter like he thought it would. Instead, it started to exhibit fractures. The tree trunk splintered after 3 more hits, but just as Naruto had envisioned, the tree stayed in place, floating as if nothing had occurred. It was a whole other sensation to witness something happen on a computer screen and then do it with your own arms. Naruto kept breaking trees until something happened. The leaves on the trees started to fall, and a brilliant red apple dropped between them. Naruto was curious, so he took the apple and bit into it. What a heavenly taste! He roared with delight, and his blue shirt moved around. Naruto finally saw something that was strange. This is usually the first thing someone would notice when they got here, but Naruto didn't notice how strange it was because he had been playing Minecraft for so long. His hand holding the fruit was square, his arms were rectangle, and when he put his hand on his face, he thought it was square too. Naruto spotted a very familiar face as he hurried toward a river that was close by. Steve. He stated he was shocked. It was frightening to see Steve when you looked in the mirror. But it seemed weirdly normal to see it with your own eyes instead of on the computer screen. His eyes moved normally, his lips moved naturally, and his teeth were square, which for some reason made it easy for him to eat the apple. His hand had fingers that appeared natural even though they were square. Naruto was really excited by all of this, so he explored everything. He had changed crafting so that it worked in a more magical fashion. The player still retained the inventory, but the crafting system had been changed. Naruto opened the inventory and used his thoughts to pull out a cookbook. The book had a list of all the things a player could do with the materials he already had. The more materials a player got, the more pages the book would get. At first, Minecraft didn't have this book, but it was too hard for a lot of casual players to play, so the creator included something that Naruto also did in his game in subsequent versions. Naruto opened his inventory and collected the other item that new players would get, just like the book said to do. A black box with a picture of a tool on it. The box contained 9 spaces where the player could put the block miniatures and other things they possessed. When you closed the box, it would glow, and when you opened it again, the finished thing would come out. This was possible by following the recipe in the book and putting the blocks and items in the appropriate places. Naruto had made more changes to the game to make it more interesting for players, but he was too lazy to test them right now. Naruto saw that the game was getting dark and thought it had been 20 minutes since he had started playing. He thought he wasn't hungry while playing Minecraft, but his body in real life probably was, so he decided to stop playing and get something to eat. Naruto got up from his computer chair with a smile on his face and looked at the system he had been handed. The world will go nuts for this system if he can keep making games with it. Even he, the one who designed the game, wanted to play it, so who will say other players? Naruto clicked that launch button with a smile on his face. This button would start the game on all digital platforms that weren't exclusive to one console or game brand. In other words, all stores that accepted independent developers would have his game on the shelves as if he had actually signed up to promote it there. After pushing launch, Naruto thought about going to the system store to see if he could get some cheap food so he wouldn't have to hunt any more animals. At the same time, an overweight adolescent was looking through the world's most famous online game store from an apartment in the suburbs of New York. Sadly, he was really bored. The games were all extremely similar. They were either about Captain America in World War II, a soldier fighting Nazis, or a firm that basically wanted to grab players' money and make them spend a lot to stay powerful. Ned couldn't afford to play this kind of game. Thus, he was always weaker than the other participants. That's why he stopped playing that kind of game. Ned couldn't find any fun games to play, though. He even looked in the recently added page, but he didn't discover anything there. Until he saw something that made him pay attention. There were a lot of war-themed games, but one stood out because it was distinct. This pixel art looks like it shows a land, and the name is written in square letters across the front. Minecraft interested, Ned clicked on this other game and discovered that the page for the game didn't offer much information. I only had some ads for a square man who looked like he was taking care of a farm with pigs, cows, lambs, and horses. Is this a game where you play as a farmer? Ned said out loud that he was interested. He had never seen a game where you played as a farmer. He was sick of war games, so watching a game about a farm sounded like fun. He thought it would be worth it since the game only cost $20. After all, if it could keep him busy for a few days, it would be enough. I just hope this isn't one of those games that takes all the money from the player. He thought as he pushed the play button. Ned felt a little dizzy when he hit the play button, but then everything around him became clear. Ned had been in the dark room for a long time, so it took him a bit to get used to the light. He was very afraid at this time. Did I die? Will I be a soldier in my next life? Please, no. Ned yelled and cried as he knelt down on the floor. Ned felt like he was kneeling in grass when he did. He wiped his own tears and looked around, but all he saw was a bright and beautiful world. Is this heaven? Is heaven a square? He asked himself, what is going on? In a bewildered way. Until he noticed a hovering screen in front of him. Ned approached, curious about what was written. Minecraft single player, multiplayer is coming soon. Quit. Ned was astonished when he saw this. Is this the game? Nervously, he pressed the exit button, and in a second, Ned was back in his own room, the Minecraft launcher screen in front of him, the mouse hovering over the play button. I returned. He puzzled as he looked about his room, which was exactly how he had left it before he went. Ned was terrified of this game, but, like any good nerd, he was also fascinated by it. After all, if this was a game, it was his responsibility to complete it entirely. Because it was such an unusual game, he was tempted to delve further and see what happened. Then, with a confident face, Ned hit play again, as if he were preparing for an unknown battle. When Ned opened his eyes again, he found himself in the same green, colorful, and square universe as before, but this time he pressed single player rather than exit. When he pressed that button, the screen vanished in front of him, causing Ned to look about curiously. The first thing he noticed was his arms had become square. It will most likely match the rest of the world, right? Ned mentally questioned himself. He felt a backpack on his back and, curious, grabbed and opened it. Instead of seeing what was inside, Ned saw a screen in front of him, with a book, a box, and numerous blank places. Curious, he reached into his rucksack to get the book. The book magically appeared from his hand. Ned carefully opened the book and began reading the directions, but he was a little confused. Ned approached a tree while holding the book, took a deep breath, and punched it. As soon as he closed his eyes in fear of the pain the punch would cause, he heard the crunch of bark cracking, but the pain he had been anticipating did not arrive. Ned struck the tree again, this time with greater confidence, and discovered that it was even more cracked. Following a series of punches, his torso abruptly snapped and transformed into a little block that hovered in front of him. "Is this floating?" he inquired, surprised, as he ran his square palm between the two trunks to see if there was anything holding it, but there was none. Picking up a small floating brick, Ned placed it in his own rucksack and found a distraction. Ned began punching everything, including trees, dirt, sand, and stone, disregarding what the book instructed him to do. He punched everything, and it sometimes broke. Ned was intrigued by these small bricks and decided to put them on the ground to see what would happen. Bamf! The small miniature block he was holding abruptly expanded and returned to its original size as soon as it hit the ground. Whoa! Ned was surprised. He enjoyed playing with Lego and had numerous different collections, but he never believed he would be able to play with such a large Lego. So, without thinking, Ned began breaking up all the land he saw along the road and placing the small blocks in his rucksack. When he was hungry, Ned ate one of the apples that had fallen from the trees and enjoyed the wonderful taste of the fruits. "If apples in real life were so good, I wouldn't mind going on a diet," he murmured in hushed tones as he finished eating the fruit and proceeded to start his first build. Ned tossed the earth blocks to the ground with a confident expression on his face. He had used numerous pieces of soil to construct this magnificent structure. Bamf! 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 Several blocks piled up until they built a massive building that he was proud of. "This is my castle, and I am the king. Hello, King Ned. Mawahahaha." He began laughing out loud as he looked around. Suddenly, a powerful voice was heard near Ned's fortress. Curious, Ned looked about, wondering, "What is this? Is it another player? But I'm playing single player. Perhaps it's an NPC." The voice grew stronger, making Ned apprehensive. Ned had never been afraid of NPCs while playing with a mouse and keyboard, but now that he was in the game, he was terrified. "Who's there?" he yelled as he looked around. It was entirely dark, and it was nearly difficult to see further than 10 meters away. This made Ned even more terrified. Until Ned spotted the shadow creating the sounds, but instead of relaxing, he became horrified. "Is this a zombie? I thought this was a farming game. Why is there a zombie here?" Ned was shocked. He was terrified of genuine zombies, and now he saw one approaching him with its arms outstretched, like if it was about to eat his brain. Shit! He grabbed his rucksack and took out the book to see what he was meant to accomplish. But because it was so dark, Ned was unable to read anything. He had left the castle entrance open, believing it would be easier for him to get through, but who knew he had opened the henhouse door for the fox to enter. Ned did what he had done so far because he didn't know what else to do. Punch, punch, punch. Ned started feverishly punching the earth and making a hole for himself to hide. Ned became stranded in a 1x1x2 space after taking a little earth block instead of the top section. Ned had no idea, but by instinct, he had utilized the most famous Minecraft trick for newbie players who were terrified to play Minecraft at night: dig a hole and wait for morning. The food seems excellent. 1 gaming point for a pack of 20 cup noodles. Doesn't look like a horrible deal. Naruto enjoyed looking at the system store. He had gone through the other tabs to see what may be useful to him, and aside from some everyday items that were inexpensive, the rest was extremely pricey. He could gain powers from anime and movies, but it was extremely pricey. Dominic Toretto's driving skills, 3,000 gaming points. Deadshot weapon mastery, 10,000 gaming points. Grey Fullbuster ice magic, 100,000. Megaman fire magic, 500,000 gaming points. Unfortunately, Naruto couldn't afford Dominic Toretto's driving techniques. For the time being, he was pleased to gaze at the price of food. He was pulling for Minecraft to win and earn more gaming points for himself. Naruto had no idea what the world was like. Since he arrived, he had been locked in this mountain, with no touch with the outside world, and he was terrified of encountering a dragon or a demon lord that dominated this planet. These 20 cup noodles can last for 10 days. I think that in 10 days Minecraft has already generated me at least 1 gaming point, right? He questioned himself, uncertainly. But, due to his hunger and lack of processed food, Naruto gritted his teeth and spent 1 gaming point for these cup noodles. It's divine. I missed this so much. Naruto yelled excitedly as he ate the noodles. Until he noticed something interesting on the computer screen. 1 active player in Minecraft. What? Has anyone already purchased Minecraft? But it's been less than 30 minutes since I went online. Naruto asked himself, astonished and perplexed. Naruto opened the game following software and saw an active player symbol with a small one-eyed button next to it. Curious, Naruto clicked on the icon and discovered that his computer screen was playing Minecraft as if he were in spectator mode. On the screen, a frightened Steve looked about, as if he was afraid of something. He's been playing for a little more than 20 minutes, has he passed his first night? This is surprising. My first time playing Minecraft, I died to a skeleton's arrow at night and was almost killed. For that person to survive the first night in such a deep game is admirable. Naruto smiled to himself while sucking on some cup noodles. He gradually got more entertained as he watched this guy explore the world of Minecraft. When Naruto observed the player ready to have a heart attack and a creeper exploding next to him, he nearly died laughing. This is like watching one of those well-crafted animations. This kid seems to have a talent for entertaining people. Naruto smiled and continued to watch. Without realizing it, an hour had gone, and he was still observing this boy's experiences in this strange world. Perhaps this is the amusement of those gods who reincarnate humanity in strange worlds. Maybe I'm entertaining like that for someone. Nah, I just sat in front of the computer and built a game. I guess I'm not very intriguing. But after saying that, Naruto noticed something. But this player is interesting. How about I develop a way to stream this? With that in mind, Naruto minimized game following and launched Game Developer. Using the mental instructions for the system made it relatively simple to integrate streaming mode in the game. Nevertheless, this cost Naruto an additional 30 gaming points because it was not part of the standard sandbox game mode. But he was content with that. After all, he had seen how powerful live streams could be in convincing players to buy games in the past. Naruto smiled as he pressed the update button and returned his attention to the player's screen. Unfortunately, he was the only person who had purchased Minecraft thus far, but this would not last long. Ned was having so much fun that he didn't realize almost 2 hours had passed. After realizing that he could build swords, pickaxes, shovels, and armor, Ned became obsessed. He wanted to mine farther into the tunnels, but he was scared of confronting an unknown monster. He was astonished when he saw the green monster that exploded. But that didn't stop Ned from exploring the surface and shallower caves. So he received his first iron armor. Looking at the shining armor between his arms made Ned immensely proud. He had worked hard to obtain this gear, which increased his appreciation for it. But as Ned was admiring his iron armor, a floating screen materialized in front of him. A new update has arrived. Would you like to update the game now? You will need to restart the game to apply updates. When Ned saw this, he was surprised. According to what he saw when he bought the game, it was launched today. Was there an update yet? Despite his reservations, Ned chose to agree and unplug from the game for 3 seconds before returning to the planet. How fast? Maybe it's just a little bug patch, Ned said aloud as he returned to admire the armor in front of him. When Ned tried to put his old leather armor in his backpack, he noticed something strange. Something new had appeared next to the backpack, a camera. When did I obtain this camera? I don't remember making this, he said to himself with some uncertainty. When he took the camera, he noticed a little screen indicating what it was. This is the live streaming camera. To begin a live broadcast, log into the appropriate platform account. Should I proceed with this? Previously, the outcome was not as expected. Ned contemplated briefly before shaking his head. I have nothing to lose in this situation, so I might as well give it a try. Undoubtedly, others will find this game impressive as well. This may represent a significant opportunity for me. Ned confidently logged into his Twitch account and pressed the camera button to commence streaming. Upon the activation of the camera light, he exhibited a moment of hesitation while holding the camera, uncertain of the appropriate course of action. P. Parker. Hello Ned, are you considering streaming once more? Could you please clarify what it is? Is it a film? Please exercise caution, as this situation could lead to legal repercussions. Ned observed his best friend's message, smiled, and responded promptly. Hi Peter, this is not a film, it's genuinely me. He began to move his arms, waving them from side to side. P. Parker. Excuse me. How are you accomplishing this? Are you utilizing body tracking? How did you acquire such a significant amount of money? It is not body tracking. Rather, this is the house I constructed. Initially, it was merely an earth castle, but I utilized my pickaxe to gather stone and successfully traded the land for stone. The result is a significantly more durable structure. Ned began to demonstrate with the camera, articulating the various experiences he has had in the world since he embarked on his journey in gaming. Parker. Wow, how are you accomplishing this? I would appreciate your response. I would like to participate as well. Dark Knight. Hello, could you please clarify what this is? I noticed while browsing other live streams that yours appears to utilize CGI. Are you a VTuber? As more individuals began to join Ned's livestream, some were drawn in out of boredom while others were invited by friends. However, once they entered this unique livestream, they found it difficult to leave. The experience was both novel and enchanting. Ned frequently found himself reiterating the most fundamental aspects of the game, yet his audience never seemed to tire of his explanations as he navigated through this captivating world with the camera in hand. Viewers experienced a sense of observing an individual from another realm as he navigated through it. The experience surpassed that of a film. Naruto was pleased to observe the positive reception of the player's livestream, which was reportedly hosted by someone named Ned. At last, we have some engaging entertainment. Naruto expressed his joy with an enthusiastic squeal. He lacked any means of communication with the outside world, restricted solely to activities associated with the game. Therefore, observing others engage with one another represented a significant advancement for him. Ding, ding, 2 new notifications have been received from the Game Analytics application. In this presentation, he was able to observe the game's performance, including sales figures, player engagement duration, and similar metrics. The 2 notifications indicated a successful sale of 2 additional copies. Ned's livestream attracted an audience of 40 viewers, with the count steadily increasing. For an individual like Ned, who initially had just 1 follower, gathering 40 people was a remarkable achievement. The increasing number of individuals inviting their friends was generating significant free publicity for Naruto's game. Units sold. $60. My game has achieved sales of $60. This is impressive. Naruto was pleased as he quickly navigated to the Converter tab to assess the potential points he could accumulate from the sales of game copies. $60 equates to 0.3 gaming points, that's not even 1 gaming point. To acquire 1 gaming point, a payment of $200 will be required. Would it require $40,000 to develop an additional 200 gaming points sandbox game? That price is quite high. What an impressive transformation. How absurd is that? Naruto expressed his frustration vocally. I need to maintain my composure. $40,000 represents merely 2,000 units sold. That isn't a significant amount, is it? Naruto contemplated with hesitation. Minecraft in its previous world achieved sales of 600 million copies, translating to an impressive $120 billion if priced at $20 per copy. Given this substantial potential, Naruto could be confident that it would generate significant returns for him. The game may require some time before it begins to yield significant profits, but there is no need for haste. Having made his decision, Naruto contemplated indulging in another cup noodles to commemorate the occasion. However, recalling that each cup noodles was priced at $10, he experienced a twinge of guilt, considering it represented nearly 20% of his earnings from the game thus far. The day passed swiftly with a source of entertainment. Naruto spent the remainder of the day engaged in Ned's livestream, finding it highly enjoyable and a significant improvement over the previous inactivity he had been compelled to endure in the cabin. The following day, Naruto accessed Game Analytics and reviewed the Minecraft statistics. Minecraft units sold: $41,820, average time played, 5 hours. Peak simultaneous players: 34 inches. Do I currently possess sufficient points for 4 gaming points? Naruto was filled with enthusiasm. He would no longer need to manage his food intake due to concerns about insufficient funds to sustain it. By adding to the 19 gaming points he had previously, he is now able to convert that money and achieve a total of 23 gaming points. Although it was a modest observation, he noted an increase in the number of players engaging in Minecraft live streams, which would likely attract greater attention to the game and potentially enhance future sales. I believe the next area for development should be multiplayer. This will draw in a larger audience. However, I must first gather 50 gaming points. Naruto engaged in a self-dialogue. He aimed to initiate Minecraft with multiplayer mode. However, achieving this required additional points, which he had in limited supply. Consequently, he had no choice but to leave the soon button adjacent to multiplayer in the game. With 50 gaming points, he had the opportunity to acquire a server capable of accommodating 5,000 online players, a commendable figure given that 5,000 participants would yield him 500 gaming points. At this moment, my only course of action is to remain patient. Naruto exhaled as he accessed Game Following and began viewing Ned's livestream once more. He was taken aback by the fact that 93 individuals were already viewing Ned's livestream. Such rapid growth is impressive for someone who had no followers just a day prior. A notification appeared before him, causing a moment of confusion. Ding! A mutant has just acquired the game. Would you like to permit the mutant to utilize their abilities within the game? A mutant. What constitutes mutants? It is possible that individuals who eliminated a creature subsequently integrated its essence. Or an individual who was born with challenges. Naruto began to contemplate, still considering the possibility that this might be a realm of magic. He was familiar with the X-Men, yet his intense focus on the possibility of a world filled with dragons and magic led him to overlook the fact that it could be a mutant he recognized. What is the cost associated with permitting this? Naruto inquired of the system. To enable mutants to utilize abilities in the game, a cost of 25 gaming points is required for 1250 mutants. If the user wishes to permit mutants to transfer abilities to humans within the game, the same cost of 25 gaming points will apply for 1250 humans to acquire those abilities. Upon witnessing this, Naruto experienced a sense of shock. It would be quite intriguing to observe. Humans exhibit biases, and it is clear that these mutants face discrimination in various contexts. However, permitting them to contribute their abilities could potentially alter human perceptions of them. I will proceed once I have accumulated sufficient gaming points. It is important to be a thoughtful game developer. Naruto reflected with a sense of pride. He was unaware that this decision would garner significantly more global attention than he anticipated. Kurt Wagner sought an engaging livestream channel, yet he found himself weary of the constant focus on shooting and war games. While these games were enjoyable for a time, he had been exposed to them since childhood, leading to a sense of monotony. One day, while exploring the Twitch website, Kurt discovered something unique. A live stream featuring a captivating title, Minecraft. Another world. Intrigued, he clicked on the live stream to discover what made this game noteworthy, but what he witnessed astonished Kurt. A small square figure appeared on his screen, equipped with a camera and engaging with individuals while managing a vast farm. If the individual were not so conventional, Kurt might perceive this as merely a real-life livestream from a farmer seeking companionship. However, the square man was clad in armor and had a sword secured at his waist, indicating that this was not a typical occurrence on farms. With a sense of inquiry, he composed a message in the chat. Crawler, could you please clarify what this is? I am new to this environment. Kurt did not anticipate that the man's response would arrive almost immediately. Is this your first time, friend Crawler? It is quite common for individuals to react this way upon experiencing Minecraft for the first time. This is a virtual reality game that transports you to another world, allowing for personalized adventures. The side of the barn. I personally constructed it with my own hands. Ned expressed with enthusiasm as he indicated the house he took great pride in constructing. Kurt was quite taken aback by this, as the man replied almost immediately. Is this truly a game? I initially considered it to be a film or perhaps a new advancement in VTuber technology. However, the manner in which this individual is engaging with his surroundings and interacting with various objects truly gives the impression of a game. Kurt expressed enthusiasm. He entered the game store with enthusiasm and promptly purchased the game. 3 days had elapsed since Kurt acquired Minecraft. He was thoroughly engrossed in this game. The friends at the mansion expressed curiosity regarding Kurt's frequent sleeping in his computer chair. However, upon discovering the game he was engaged with, their enthusiasm matched his, leading them to join in the gameplay as well. Kurt, I discovered that combining blaze powder with an ender pearl results in an ender eye, which indicates the direction of a dragon dungeon. Kitty Pryde expressed her enthusiasm to Kurt as they enjoyed their breakfast. What is this? A dragon? I believed that the Endermen were the most formidable creatures. Could you please share the source of this blaze powder? Kurt expressed his surprise. I discovered it in a chest within an abandoned mine. Regrettably, I was only able to locate one, and after utilizing the ender eye several times, it unfortunately broke. Kitty expressed some discouragement. As they engaged in conversation, Evan Daniels approached them with enthusiasm. Ned has discovered that it is possible to access the Nether in Minecraft. What? 2x The two expressed their astonishment at this revelation. They believed there was only one dimension in Minecraft, but was there a means to access Hell? Indeed, recall that he constructed the entrance to his fortress using the obsidian he acquired with a diamond pickaxe. Subsequently, unintentionally, he ignited a fire in the forest adjacent to his castle, resulting in the door to his residence transforming into a portal to Hell. Evan stated with enthusiasm as he took out his cell phone and presented it to the other children. The volume of Evan's voice piqued the curiosity of the other children, prompting them to approach and view his cell phone. Ned found himself in a landscape characterized by red rocks and flowing lava, rather than water. Ned suddenly observed a large castle constructed from red blocks and began to feel enthusiastic about acquiring those blocks for his own castle project. However, the young individuals were not focused on his words. Instead, they were engaged in animated discussions about the challenges within the game. Wow, I was unaware that such a place existed. I was under the impression that there existed solely one dimension. A young child expressed. Is there additional complexity to this situation? More formidable creatures? Another boy said. Observe the castle. There are dark skeletons wielding swords. They must possess considerable strength. A young girl expressed her enthusiasm while gesturing towards the castle. In the mansion's canteen, a group of young men gathered around Evan, intently observing the livestream of Ned's daring expedition through Hell. Ned killed a yellow fire-breathing monster and dropped something weird that he didn't know how to serve. As that, Kitty Pryde yelled with shock. What? Kurt questioned her. What? That's the blaze powder I told you about. Damn it, we have to go to Hell to obtain that. I need to get diamonds quickly, so I have to go to the bedroom. I want to fight the dragon, Kitty said as she raced out of the cafeteria. But she tumbled to the ground when she ran into someone in the cafeteria. Are you okay? The person questioned with concern. Don't run inside the mansion. It could be dangerous. I'm sorry, Miss Munro, but I'm not running anymore. Kitty muttered this while scratching the back of her head, which made her feel a little ashamed. Why is everyone so happy? Aurora Munro asked in astonishment when he witnessed all the young kids fighting and becoming passionate about something. This is a new game we've been playing. I was sprinting because I wanted to go to Hell and kill a monster that breathed fire. It's a game that takes you to another dimension and offers a wonderful adventure, Kitty said with excitement. Aurora was a little confused when she heard Kitty say these things. It would be hard to get these kids so interested and curious if it was simply a game. She quietly walked up to them and saw her nephew Evan's cell phone. There was a small square man on the screen chatting to the camera and fending off black skeletons. Every now and then, he would take up a pickaxe and start taking down the castle. She didn't grasp what was going on until Kurt Wagner said something that shocked her. "Yes, I already told you, you don't need to be so afraid of dying. It hurts a little, but you can go back to the place where you died and get your things." Kurt stated this while he was telling the younger lad something. "But Kurt, the last time a zombie ripped my arm off, I was really scared. It's strange to look at your arm and not see anything," a youngster said sadly. "Don't worry about it, you'll get used to it. The first time I entered that world, I felt very uncomfortable without my tail, but I got used to it over time, until a zombie ripped my leg off. The first time it hurt a lot, but I didn't feel it anymore as time went on. You just have to remember to always have food in your backpack so it can grow again." Kurt told the kids what happened, and they were amazed at how brave he was. "Mr. Wagner, what do you mean by pain?" Aurora asked, curious. It made Kurt a little embarrassed to see that one of the teachers was listening to him talk, but he immediately answered. "Mrs. Munro, don't you know Minecraft? It's a game where you are magically sent to another universe as your body sleeps in real life," Kurt said with excitement. But when he saw Evan's worried face next to him and the other students around him, he knew he had messed up. He shouldn't have told the teacher about Minecraft since she would probably claim it's harmful and they shouldn't play this, but it's just a game, Kurt said, a little scared. But by this time, it was too late. Aurora was worried about the pupils and told everyone to stop playing Minecraft for now since she was going to tell Professor Xavier about it. The pupils were disappointed because they wanted to go to the world of Minecraft and invade hell, but they knew they couldn't do what the teachers told them to do. Aurora didn't stay with the pupils for long. She headed straight to Professor Xavier's office. "Professor," Aurora said with respect when she walked into his office. There were Professor Xavier, Hank McCoy, and Logan all there. It seems like they were talking about ways to help the students focus more on their schoolwork and training, because they haven't been doing so well lately. "Yes, Aurora, you came at the right time." With a pleasant smile, Xavier said, "I'm sorry, Professor, but this time I came to talk about something else, a danger that the students are in," Aurora said with worry. Naruto was quite thrilled. He thought Minecraft would sell a lot more than it did in the first week. Minecraft units sold. 321, $6,420, average time played. 6 hours maximum number of players at once. 241. He had already sold more than $6,400, which was worth 32 gaming points. With that, he could finally start the game's multiplayer mode. This would undoubtedly bring in more players and make the ones who were already playing even more addicted to the game. Playing alone was fun, but playing with friends was much more fun. Naruto smiled as he sat down at the computer and began to set up Minecraft's multiplayer feature. He spent 50 gaming points to buy a server that could hold 5,000 people, which is more than adequate for the current player base. To start, he turned on the LAN servers option, which was free. As long as both players possessed the game and were on the same internet network, they could play in the same world on this type of server. Second, Naruto decided to add a mode where players could buy a world online. The world would cost $1 a month, and the player could invite up to 10 people to join him in the world. If he wanted more slots, he would have to buy them separately. Naruto thought of that when he was designing the multiplayer mode. He couldn't find hosts for players to establish their own servers because the game was made on a different platform than his last world. So, to make things easier for these folks, he decided to make a method to host himself. There would be no lag for players, and they would only have to pay a little fee to play with pals. People would have to pay a lot more money to establish a big server with a lot of slots. Then, it would be up to the server owner to make the server lucrative with the microtransactions they choose. Naruto also planned to set up some servers for himself. To get more people to play the multiplayer mode, he would develop some minigames on a server that anyone could join. The name of the server would be the name of one of Naruto's favorite servers from his last world, Hypixel, but he couldn't construct a lot of minigames with the tools he had, so he only chose 2 of the simpler but still very enjoyable ones that he liked to play: Build Battle and Hunger Games. Fortunately, he didn't have to build the lobby by hand. All Naruto had to do was picture what the lobby would look like or remember what Hypixel's lobby looked like in his last planet and tell the system to build it. After a few hours of getting everything ready, Naruto finally pressed the test button with a smile on his face. Naruto blinked and suddenly found himself back in the world of Minecraft. The dizziness he had the first time he played the game went away as he got used to it. But this time, he was in a medieval town with a great purple doorway in front of him. Around him, he could see some shops with villagers who could sell players essential items. Naruto smiled with excitement as he walked toward a villager he had made. The villager made his typical noise as he created a screen appear in front of Naruto. Naruto finally hit confirm after making some changes to the Windows settings. He felt a light come down on him. Naruto smiled and hurried to the nearest mirror to see himself. Naruto was now wearing a skin with a worn brown shirt, light gray slacks, and black shoes instead of the usual, Steve, skin. He had developed his own skin to fit the name he would use in the game. Naruto could see a name moving around in the mirror. Notch. He adopted that name for himself as a way to show respect for the real founder of Minecraft. The skin was based on the original Notch skin, except instead of a long beard and a bald head, Naruto had a bald beard and long black hair. Naruto preferred simple things. Thus, he was happy with the skin. He thought that on the Hypixel server, people may change their skin for free once a week. If someone wanted to change it before that, they would have to pay $1 each time it changed, which would reset the time. Naruto thought it would be fun to let gamers change their looks, too, as they wanted to be different. The new skins in Hypixel operated on all Minecraft servers, even single-player mode. This meant that even if a player didn't like playing with other people, they still had to go to Hypixel to change how they looked in the game. And when he got here, he probably wanted to play one of the games. People who are more violent would like playing Hunger Games, whereas people who are more peaceful and artistic could like playing Build Battle. The server offered a VIP system that let players pay to get limitless skin swaps, colorful capes to wear, and choose the color of the name above their head. Nothing that would offer you an advantage over other players, but yet let players support the game and help it make more money. Naruto was happy with what he had done after playing the minigames and decided to stop playing Minecraft. Naruto thought it would be a good moment to let everyone know that a new update had come out since there were 298 people playing the game. Ned was really delighted the last several days, and the main reason was that he learned about Minecraft. Not only was Minecraft a really enjoyable and original game, but was also the game that changed his life. From a high school student to a streamer with more than 500 viewers per day. A lot of people who played Minecraft got to know the game from watching Ned's livestream, so they enjoyed to see him play it every now and again. Ned was making a lot of money from the livestream. In just a week of playing Minecraft, he had made over $600, which was great for a child who was still in school and only played video games at home. However, today an event reminiscent of the past occurred. As he utilized nether stones to enhance the imposing nature of his castle, a screen materialized before Ned. A new update is available. Would you like to restart the game to proceed with the update? Ned, feeling a surge of excitement, promptly pressed the button without hesitation. Affirmative. Restarting the game was a swift process. Immediately after returning to the game's start menu, Ned began to clarify the situation to the viewers. The previous update introduced the feature allowing players to livestream their gameplay. What enhancements can we expect this time? Ned inquired of the viewers. P. Parker. Perhaps an alternate dimension akin to Hell. Crawler. I believe there may be new creatures emerging. As viewers began to formulate their own hypotheses, Ned approached the start menu screen and was taken aback by what he encountered. Minecraft single-player multiplayer is available. Terminate. The multiplayer mode is now available. Ned expressed his enthusiasm loudly, generating a similar excitement among the viewers. P. Parker. Please begin playing. I am eager to experience it. Crawler. Indeed, I would like to participate, but my instructor has prohibited it. I empathize with the comment made above. Random Viewer 1. I empathize with the sentiment expressed in the comment above. +1 It is unfortunate to see the sentiment expressed in the previous comment. +2 Random Viewer 10. I empathize with the comment above. +10 I empathize with the sentiment expressed in the previous comment. +50 Kurt felt a surge of emotion while reading these comments, yet his curiosity regarding the multiplayer mode maintained his attention on the computer screen as he awaited Ned's turn to play. Ned ensured that he met the expectations of these individuals. Upon selecting Multiplayer, an additional window was displayed. Hypixel 15 5000ths Create your own server. Ned opted against setting up his own server, so without hesitation, he clicked on Hypixel and was transported to that world. Ned was taken aback by his surroundings. In contrast to the modest castle he was constructing, the structures in this realm were monumental and exceptionally crafted. The landscape featured towering houses adorned with elegant roofs, modest yet charming dwellings, and vendor stalls manned by villagers offering various goods. Most notably, a striking large purple portal stood prominently at the forefront. Does that portal lead to hell? Ned reflected on this with a sense of astonishment. He had never encountered a portal of such magnitude. It even instilled a sense of intimidation within him. Around it stood 15 additional astonished players, gazing at the large portal. Ned observed his surroundings and noted that everyone appeared similar to him, which caused him some discomfort. The sole distinction was 2 players who seemed to be female, characterized by a female skin. However, before Ned could express his dissatisfaction, he noticed an individual who stood out from the rest. The individual was characterized by long black hair, a brown shirt, and gray pants. Adorning the back of this player was a striking red cape featuring the visage of a creeper, elegantly fluttering in the breeze. A name was displayed above that player's head. This caused the attention of other players to immediately shift from the portal to that player. Hello, I noticed you've made some changes to your appearance. What inspired that? Could you please share where you acquired this cape? Is it a specific item? Ned approached and inquired of the unfamiliar player. Ned perceived that this cover enhanced the player's appeal significantly. The player paused and regarded Ned, then broke into a smile while gesturing towards a villager. Subsequently, he resumed his walk between the houses in the area and vanished from the player's view. Upon noticing the villager indicated by the player, the other participants swiftly moved to that location, at which point a screen materialized before them. Are you considering altering your appearance? Exchanges can only be processed after a period of 7 days. Ned promptly altered his appearance, opting for a slightly darker skin tone, a yellow shirt, and black pants, complemented by a crown atop his head. The look was understated, yet it instilled in Ned a sense of distinction from his peers. Other participants began to alter their appearances as well. Notably, 2 individuals donned outfits reminiscent of Captain America's uniform and shared a light-hearted moment as they embraced each other, laughing together. Ned observed that there was no cape available for him to select. He then surveyed the surroundings and noticed a gold banner displaying the word VIP. With a sense of inquiry, he approached the flag and observed another screen materializing before him. VIP banner. The benefits for VIP players include: would you be interested in becoming a VIP? Ned observed that the price was merely $5, prompting him to make the payment without delay. He successfully generated significantly more revenue during a live stream, so he chose not to pursue VIP status. He soon selected a golden cape and donned it with care. As players traversed the streets, they were taken aback by the impressive cape of one individual, prompting them to encounter the banner before donning their own capes to enhance their sense of uniqueness. During this time, there was a significant increase in the number of players in the lobby. Initially, the attendance was under 20 individuals. However, the atmosphere has become quite lively, with over 100 people now engaging in exploration throughout the venue. Shall we engage in a game? Ned inquired in the chat with enthusiasm. Unbeknownst to him, his livestream, which had previously attracted 500 viewers, now boasted an audience exceeding 900, likely due to the appeal of this innovative format. At first, observing him engage in solitary play within the world was intriguing. However, it eventually became somewhat monotonous. The scenario shifted dramatically when he found himself in a public space surrounded by more than 100 individuals, all sharing his square form. Despite the unusual nature of this situation, the crowd embraced it positively, finding it endearing in a surprising way. As Ned engaged in multiplayer mode, Kurt found himself on the brink of tears in his room. The multiplayer mode appeared to be quite enjoyable, yet he was unable to participate. As he proceeded to the cafeteria for dinner alongside his fellow students, he observed that they all bore similar expressions of frustration, likely yearning to engage in Minecraft multiplayer mode, yet were hindered by the teacher's restrictions. Noticing the students' distress, Aurora decided to visit Professor Xavier's office to inquire about any findings regarding the game and its potential risks. However, upon entering, she found Xavier seemingly asleep in his chair. With a sense of urgency, she approached him swiftly. However, before making contact with Xavier, Aurora noticed a square character on his computer screen, animatedly running back and forth with a cheerful expression. Is he enjoying his time walking around once more? Aurora was taken aback to observe that Professor Xavier was seemingly engaged in this game and thoroughly enjoying himself. If Professor Xavier is enjoying the game, I believe it is appropriate to permit the students to participate as well. Aurora contemplated carefully, intrigued by the reasons behind the enjoyment this game brought to the participants. Perhaps I should consider trying as well, she questioned herself, feeling perplexed. The students at Mansion X were eager to return to playing Minecraft, while Naruto observed the players on the Hypixel server from spectator mode, soaring through the virtual landscape. It was intriguing to observe the behavior of these individuals, and notably, they resembled those from his previous world. Their manner of speaking and behavior closely resembled that of his previous world, providing Naruto with a sense of familiarity. It feels as though I am still immersed in my previous environment. There are even individuals adorned in superhero attire, quite amusing. He smiled as he observed several players dressed in Captain America attire. Is this an alternate reality? A realm inhabited by wizards? Ultimately, I have the opportunity to learn magic through the system. It would be rather unusual if I were the sole individual capable of utilizing magic in the world. No, the system indicated that there were mutants as well, so it is possible that there exists a version where monsters inhabit the world. It could resemble a world akin to solo leveling. As he observed the players from an unseen vantage point, Naruto identified one individual who stood out among the others. After engaging with Minecraft for several days, the majority of players had become accustomed to the fundamental aspects of the game and shifted their attention solely to the new features. However, there was an alternate individual. A solitary player with long hair was seated in a lobby chair, observing the activities of the other players. At times, he would rise and pace, yet seemed uneasy while standing, leading him to return to his seat on occasion. Intrigued, Naruto chose to engage with this player to gain insight into his perspective, recognizing that for a game developer, comprehending the audience is essential. As Naruto descended into the alley, he deactivated his invisibility and approached the player, carefully observing their nickname. Instructor, your nick is expected to gain value over time, Naruto remarked as he made his way toward the man who was seated. The professor was taken aback by the approach of another individual. The first detail that caught his attention was the man's long hair, evoking a sense of familiarity within the professor. He should also be bald outside of this game. Is this what you had in mind? The professor inquired about the man's statement with interest. He was typically accustomed to being aware of the superficial thoughts of those around him, but upon entering this new environment, he discovered that he could not utilize his mutant abilities. This presented a degree of discomfort, yet it also offered a unique experience, invigorating. Naruto observed that this player did not grasp his intentions or actions. This player appears to be inexperienced. Naruto reflected with a smile, pleased that even newcomers were engaging with Minecraft. Nicks such as black, white, blue, red, happy, and sad are likely to become uncommon in the future, as many individuals may consider adopting them as their own. Additionally, Professor may also emerge as a popular choice among educators. In the coming years, or possibly even months, it is likely that a player will reach out to you with the intention of purchasing your nickname. Naruto stated with a smile as he provided a thorough explanation. After considering the player's explanation, the professor grasped the intended meaning and found the situation to be intriguing. He had ample financial resources, so he was open to monetary offers for his nickname. However, the interest from others in it provided him with a sense of satisfaction. How about yours? Will yours appreciate in the future? Notch is not something I've heard before. Professor expressed his curiosity. Maybe in the distant future, but it's not something I can control. Naruto responded without saying why. He didn't want to admit that he created this world and that if others discovered his pseudonym, he might place a high value on himself. Professor was intrigued by Notch's response. He wished he could use his powers on this player to learn what he was thinking, as he always did with those around him, but no matter how hard he tried, it was impossible. It was as if he were a normal human in this world, just like the others. What's your reason for coming to Hypixel? Naruto inquired carefully. Professor paused for a time before responding, and he didn't see any issue with disclosing the truth. Some pupils at my school were playing this game, and I was concerned that it could be dangerous, so I decided to try it out. I eventually discovered that I could walk in this world again, which made me really enjoy life here. I'm not interested in combat with monsters or other players. Simply being able to roam about freely and see people moving from one location to another is a lot of enjoyment for me. Naruto believed he could better comprehend the professor after hearing his response. Probably a public school teacher who cared about his children, and based on what he stated about his ability to walk, he was most likely a wheelchair user, which made Naruto very pleased. He believed Minecraft would just be a fun game for people, but learning that wheelchair users could freely walk around here would most likely be very beneficial to those individuals in the future. I'm glad you liked the game. I hope your students have fun here, but don't leave their studies aside to play too, haha. Naruto laughed as he responded to the professor. While the professor was delighted to speak with someone who shared his insecurity about his own head, he assumed Naruto was also bald. Naruto was delighted to speak with such a unique player in his game, who provided some very important ideas for future Minecraft development. The two talked for a few hours before Naruto decided he should go out and check the game's numbers to see if there was anything he could fix. After saying his goodbyes to the professor, Naruto disappeared down an alleyway. What Naruto didn't realize was that the professor he thought taught in a public school was one of the sharpest individuals on the planet. An Omega-level mutant with a PhD in psychology who could read people without using his own powers. As soon as Naruto left, Professor began to think about his talk with the other player. He appears to be a kind person, but the way he connects Minecraft with Hypixel suggests that he is either the creator of this world or one of the developers, and he appears to be rather happy of his creation, especially with so many people having fun here. A force capable of creating a parallel universe like this one must be far more powerful than I can conceive, but he hasn't exhibited any enmity toward humans or mutants. It appears that he simply wants people to have fun in the world. He did it like a god. Charles Xavier was astounded by his hypothesis. Fortunately, he likes people. Otherwise, with his power, there would be few who could stand up to him. I must remember his name, Notch, and always be on watch. Just in case, try to be neutral, but if you have to pick between being aggressive and nice, always choose friendly. Xavier pondered as he nodded. Now, as for secrecy, I must keep everything completely private. If anyone learns about this entity, the world may descend into anarchy. Xavier was concerned that others might anger this person by wanting his power. While Xavier was having his internal monologue and becoming increasingly afraid, Naruto was humming joyfully as he went out of the world, reflecting on how nice it was to talk to a teacher after so long. He reasoned that this man must have had a lot of difficulty with the students, because if strong and healthy teachers had trouble controlling youngsters, he, as a wheelchair user, must have had 10 times more trouble coping with it. If Naruto had understood how powerful this professor was, he would not have thought so, but to Naruto, professor was just a nice public school instructor. 11. The third bald Naruto was astonished by the data he saw in game analytics. Minecraft 795 games sold for $15,900. The amount available for withdrawal is $9,500. The average time played is 7 hours. Maximum number of simultaneous players, 586. Total earned from server sales, $156 in just one day. Minecraft sold about 500 units. Naruto had never imagined such a large quantity. He expected the game to sell 100 more copies in one day, shattering the previous record, but who would have predicted that in just one day, the game had sold approximately 200% of its total sales. These players are apparently very satisfied, as these new sales are likely to have come from players convincing friends to buy, or players making livestream about the game. Naruto attempted to determine where so many sales originated from. These gamers are probably the same. They may have seen Minecraft videos and livestreams, but since they thought it was too different and complex, they may have resisted starting to play the game until they discovered they could play with others who could teach them. They decided to buy soon. Naruto had a thought. The most basic game types offered from Hypixel, such as Hunger Games and Build Battle, are likely to have a significant impact on these people's choices. Not to mention that introducing Build Battle mode had tremendously pushed these individuals to visit Hypixel, as I hadn't yet added creative mode to Minecraft Vanilla, so the only location these players could pick up endless blocks and build stuff freely was there. This appeared to be ideal for those who preferred greater creative abilities, making everyone pleased with the new update. Naruto considered what he could do with the money from Minecraft sales, but for the time being, he chose to let it accrue for a few points before cashing out and doing another Minecraft update. For the time being, the anticipation around the game was enough to keep sales stable. Most likely, today's sales were only a high, and it would begin to fall again tomorrow until it settled at a lower number, but Naruto was already content with these statistics. Several monks practiced stick combat in a remote Himalayan temple. These people had given up their earthly lives to serve the master of this temple, at least temporarily, before returning to satisfy their own wants with what they had learned. Some of these people had pure desires, while others would later commit terrible things to humanity, but none of this was unknown to the master who guarded this location. This master was known by numerous names over the world, but his identity and abilities were never divulged. The only thing the students understood was that the master was extremely strong, to the point where few people on the planet could compete with this master who appeared to know everything. However, although people trained and believed their master was omniscient, their master was astounded to discover something even he did not know. This master was really a woman. Because of the magic she wielded, her hair had come out, leaving a smooth, shining bald area on her head. Even though she had no hair and had lived for hundreds of years, she was still a stunning woman. But this attractive woman was taken aback as she held up a necklace in the shape of an eye that shone with green light. What is this? Why can't I see what's causing the timing to change so dramatically? She asked herself, afraid. For some reason, while she was completing her weekly timeline check today, something began to alter dramatically. Because she couldn't see the cause of the alteration clearly, she could only see parts of the timeline shift's outcome. Fortunately, the changes that were occurring were positive for humanity. People who used to detest each other were beginning to transform into colleagues or friends. In this new reality, people who had formerly fought to the death were now reportedly reconciling and beginning to have fun together. This was unthinkable to her because she knew it was their destiny to act and even fight to the death in this manner, but for some reason, there was a hidden force controlling things behind the scenes, correcting the timeline in such a way that humanity was becoming even stronger than it could have predicted. Battles that could kill billions of people in the future were developing in radically different ways as a result of this new timeline. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? The elder questioned herself, terrified when she watched the timeline jumbled up like way. However, despite using one of the infinity gems, she was unable to see anything about the being in charge of this timeline modification. It was as if this entity was not a part of this universe but continued to positively influence everything that was going on. Frustrated, the crone continued to use a lot of magic on the Eye of Agamotto in order to find at least one hint as to who this entity was that was changing everything in the timeline, and after wasting 80% of her magic power, she eventually found out. A clue. Minecraft, it was the only word she could recognize in the confused history she was witnessing. This was what she saw that appeared to have caused the timeline to shatter, shifting into something she didn't recognize. What is Minecraft? She questioned herself, perplexed to realize that the name was too easy. Have mankind developed a means to mine different ores and create new weapons? No, it does not appear to be true. Maybe mankind discovered Wakanda and began mining vibranium from there. It doesn't seem likely either. She began to develop several assumptions regarding this, but in the end, she chose the most obvious answer to her inquiry. Google, what is Minecraft? She typed into her computer suspiciously. The elder was surprised to discover the results of her Google search. Minecraft is a fantastic game. Her first online search result was a post on a website called Reddit. Minecraft is a fantastic game. Hi everyone, this is my first time posting on the game's subreddit. Last night, I was bored and started looking for live streams to pass the time, but I was getting tired of seeing folks play shooting games or war games with Captain America. Do you still engage with games of this nature to this day? While searching for engaging content to view, I came across a livestream featuring an individual I had not encountered previously. A total of 1,000 individuals were in attendance for the live stream of the game known as Minecraft. This is a game I have not encountered previously. At first, I perceived it as yet another mundane shooting game. However, upon reflection, the title appeared incongruent with the genre. Consequently, I opted to explore it further and viewed some of the livestream content. That was the highlight of my evening. The livestream featured a player known as Ned the King. Initially, I assumed he was merely a self-absorbed gamer. However, upon entering the game, I observed a square character constructing a castle using only his bare hands. I held a great deal of respect for that individual. He often expressed his aspiration to become a king, and in that game, he had the opportunity to construct a castle and realize that modest dream, which I found quite touching. What truly astonished me was my initial impression that I was witnessing some form of CGI or a game cutscene. However, during the castle construction, that square character was engaging with the chat, occasionally displaying items that others requested, resembling an interactive movie. This captured my attention significantly, prompting me to send a chat message inquiring if he had anything else apart from the castle. To my surprise, he responded by ascending the highest tower of the castle and directing the camera away from the wall. The individual had established an extensive farm with numerous animals, explaining that its purpose was to provide sustenance for the people of his kingdom. I inquired about the whereabouts of the individuals in his kingdom, and he informed me that he would acquire the server to facilitate their joining once the castle was prepared. I found this somewhat perplexing, as I was uncertain about how he would lead these individuals into such an enchanting realm. Until he grew somewhat fatigued with construction and transitioned into multiplayer mode. A large city was present, bustling with hundreds of other individuals. Everyone engaged in gaming, sharing laughter and enjoyment while conversing and playing in the lobby. Minecraft is truly remarkable. I have recently acquired the game and look forward to engaging in this experience with fellow players as well. Closing square bracket. Upon completing the reading of this insightful post, the elder was taken aback. If she asserted herself as the second most powerful magic user on Earth, it is unlikely anyone would dare to assert they hold the first position. The realization that these individuals were seemingly venturing into another dimension left her concerned, as she felt that even she would struggle to manage such a situation with numerous people while granting them that level of freedom. The crone, intrigued, conducted a search for Ned the King on Google and discovered Ned's Twitch page, where he was fortuitously online and currently engaged in playing Minecraft. The elder observed the growing number of spectators, noting with surprise that 1.4K individuals were currently watching him play the game. The audience was steadily increasing, indicating that in a few hours, the count would likely be even higher. Observing the live stream display, she noticed a small square figure navigating through a deserted, square-shaped city. The young boy grasped a stone axe as he opened a chest and started to laugh. I am pleased to announce that I have successfully acquired a diamond sword. This development significantly enhances our chances of winning the game, Ned stated, as participants in the chat expressed their congratulations, acknowledging his fortunate achievement and the opportunity to enter the ranking. The sword exhibited a translucent blue hue, enhancing its beauty and elegance. Ned observed the sword and promptly proceeded to the center of the map, consulting his compass to navigate in the indicated direction. After 3 minutes, he encountered another small square figure. However, this one appeared to possess inferior armor compared to Ned's and seemed considerably more fatigued, with noticeable flaws in the armor as well. It appears he recently engaged in a match with another competitor. Now it's just the two of us remaining. This presents a significant opportunity, Ned communicated to the chat as he approached the fatigued individual. The individual failed to observe Ned until it was too late. Ned's sword struck the man, causing him to blink red, yet no blood was shed. This was a strategic approach to indicate that the opposing player sustained damage, while ensuring that individuals with a sensitivity to blood were not alarmed. The man looked at Ned with a startled expression, until a screen appeared in front of Ned. Congratulations, player Ned the King, on achieving 37 wins and securing 3rd place for the most wins on the entire server. Would you like to be featured in the ranking? Closing square bracket. Indeed, Ned remarked with enthusiasm before being teleported back to the lobby. A large gathering of individuals was present, with some enjoying fruit and engaging in conversation, while others sat on the floor sharing stories, and some promoted their own servers in the lobby. If one were unaware of this, they might perceive this as a tranquil city from a far-off realm. Ned overlooked this detail and swiftly approached the villager side responsible for sending them to the Hunger Games matches. He observed that one of the bodyguards had been replaced. It was now a player wearing a yellow jersey with minimal skin exposure. A figure clad in exquisite bronze armor, not found within the game, stood in the shadows, with a name displayed prominently above the player's head. Ned the King Ned enthusiastically announced his presence to his viewers, drawing the attention of nearby players who initially looked on in confusion. However, upon recognizing that he shared a name with one of the Hunger Games villager bodyguards, they quickly understood his excitement about securing a position in the top 3, prompting many to come forward and offer their congratulations. The audience observed the unfolding events with great intrigue. During the livestream, she attempted to open a portal to that dimension in an effort to comprehend its mechanics. However, despite her extensive observations, she was unable to pinpoint its location. Even she, one of the most formidable entities in the universe, found herself perplexed, as if the place were entirely non-existent. However, the audience was aware that there was a deeper significance to this game, and if she was unable to uncover any information regarding it, it could only imply one thing: the individual responsible for its creation possessed far greater power than she did. This statement caused some discomfort for the Ancient One. However, she approached the situation with an open mind and resolved to explore the game known as Minecraft, prioritizing the safety of humanity. Naruto was astonished by the volume of sales. Minecraft 1,321 games sold for a total of $26,420. Withdrawal amount: $20,020. Average time played: 7 hours. Peak concurrent players: 910. Total revenue generated from server sales: $456. Total winnings in VIPs: $3,960. Available gaming points: 1. $20,000 is a substantial amount. If I convert it to GP, it will yield a total of 100 GP available for withdrawal at any time. Taking into account server and VIP earnings, that totals 122 GP. This is quite a significant achievement. Naruto expressed with enthusiasm as he began to move energetically within his cabin. I am pleased to announce that I can finally discontinue my consumption of cup noodles. Naruto had a strong appreciation for the flavor of cup noodles. However, consuming the same meal for 2 consecutive weeks was beginning to cause him some discomfort. A week had passed since the release of Minecraft's multiplayer mode, and Naruto had been deliberately refraining from checking the game's sales statistics, hoping for an element of surprise. However, he was astonished to discover that the sales figures had more than doubled this week. Given the increasing number of players engaging in livestream Minecraft, coupled with positive word of mouth, the likelihood of copy sales doubling this week is significantly high. Naruto expressed his enthusiasm while reviewing the game's sales statistics. "Today I will indulge in a celebration," Naruto stated enthusiastically as he accessed the system store and prepared to select a delightful meal. Shokugeki no Soma hamburger 2 gaming points. Naruto was considering this option, deliberating on whether to proceed with the purchase. If he were to convert the GPs to dollars, the price of this burger would amount to $400. The price was significantly higher than what he typically paid for food, given that each cup noodles was priced at 0.05 GPs. "Today is a day of celebration, and I should take the time to enjoy it," Naruto reflected as he purchased this $400 burger. Upon examining the packaging, it appeared quite similar to the sandwiches he had consumed in his previous world. However, as he took a bite, Naruto immediately recognized an explosion of flavors. "This is worth every penny," Naruto remarked, catching his breath after savoring the first bite of that exquisite burger. During his meal, Naruto momentarily set aside his ongoing thoughts about the areas in the game that required improvement. However, once he ceased consuming, those thoughts resurfaced once more. He conceived a notion of an initiative he could undertake to enhance Minecraft in order to attract new players while also ensuring the retention of existing ones to the greatest extent possible. Kurt and 4 other X-Men have made the decision to purchase a Minecraft server under the promotional $1 offer. Initially, the plan was to purchase a server capable of hosting 100 players to maximize participation. However, it was determined that having too many individuals in a single world could lead to disorganization. Consequently, he and the leading members of the X-Men opted to acquire a dedicated server exclusively for their use. The team was composed of Kurt Nightcrawler, Kitty Pryde, Shadowcat, Scott Summers, Cyclops, Jean Grey, Marvel Girl, and Anna Rogue. The team was assembled with the objective of defeating the dragon present in the game. Although they were uncertain about the rewards for vanquishing the dragon, they anticipated that it would be something valuable. Additionally, the experience of engaging in battle without their powers provided a novel challenge, further enhancing the group's synergy. Within the group of 5 players, 4 exhibited considerable enthusiasm while engaging in Minecraft. Scott expressed great satisfaction in being able to walk freely without the constant need for sunglasses. Jean felt a sense of relief knowing she was not required to manage her own abilities within the game, as she was constantly attuned to the memories of others. Kurt was pleased to have normal skin, feeling no embarrassment about the blue hairs that emerged from him. Anna exhibited the highest level of emotional expression among the group, as within the realm of Minecraft, she felt comfortable interacting with others without fear. Anna recognized that some of her most joyful experiences lately have occurred within Minecraft, particularly the ability to embrace her friends frequently, a sensation she had never encountered before. She acquired Minecraft due to Kurt's strong recommendation that the game offered considerable enjoyment. In contrast to Kurt, Anna did not have a strong interest in video games. However, Kurt's persistent and enigmatic nature compelled her to purchase the game using some of her saved funds. Upon entering the game, she experienced a blend of fear and amazement in this vibrant and structured environment, much like any new player would. At first, she intended to engage with the game briefly to please Kurt. However, upon starting to play for the first time, she became engrossed and only realized she had dedicated 5 hours to it when Kitty tapped her on the back in reality while she was immersed in the game world. Understanding Anna's abilities, Kitty only made contact with the areas covered by clothing. However, Anna's surprise arrived the following day when she accessed the Hypixel server to meet with Kurt. Upon entering the server, Anna felt a sense of apprehension and disorientation. Numerous individuals with square features were present in her vicinity, and she felt apprehensive about making any physical contact. At one moment, she sensed a hand on her shoulder, and more unsettling, that hand had gently brushed against her bare neck. Startled, Anna recoiled from the individual's hand as she glanced back, fearing she had harmed the person who had reached out to her. However, contrary to her expectations, the individual appeared completely unharmed, as if nothing had occurred. "I apologize for taking your shoulder like that unexpectedly," the man remarked, offering an embarrassed smile while scratching the back of his square head. Upon confirming his well-being, Anna was taken aback as she observed the man. He donned a brown shirt, complemented by long black hair and a striking red cape that gave him the appearance of a hero within the game. No problem, I simply became a bit overwhelmed, she stated, somewhat bashful, as it was the first instance someone had made contact with her and she remained conscious. I apologize for the oversight. I noticed you were still using the female standard skin and wanted to guide you on how to change your appearance. However, if you're not comfortable with that, it's absolutely fine. The man replied with a smile. Anna glanced above the man's head and noted that his name was Notch, a name she had not encountered previously. It's all right, did you not sense anything in contact with me? Anna inquired, but quickly recognized the ambiguity of her words and elaborated. I must inquire, are you experiencing any discomfort? Notch appeared perplexed by her inquiry and glanced at his own square form before responding. I believe I am doing well, may I ask why you inquire? Anna was taken aback by this but reacted promptly. It's not a concern, I was merely apprehensive that my fear may have impacted you. No, I consider myself quite resilient. It takes significantly more daunting challenges to intimidate me, Notch responded with a smile. Would you be open to me attempting to touch you? Anna inquired, her curiosity evident in her tone. However, she immediately recognized the ambiguity in her words once more and accompanied it with an apology. The game presents a distinct experience. I am eager to explore the tactile sensations it offers and determine if they mirror real life. Notch raised his eyebrows at this and found it to be a plausible assertion. After all, even the most advanced VR technology from his previous world could not replicate the touch sensation that current Minecraft achieved. Very well, he stated with a smile as he extended his hand toward her. Anna recognized that her inquiry might have been ill-advised. Should anything go awry, she could potentially leave this man in a coma. Nevertheless, her curiosity was overwhelming her. This represented her initial chance to engage with others without the burden of guilt, and if it proved effective, this game had the potential to transform her life. Despite her lingering apprehension, Anna was on the verge of withdrawing from any physical contact with the man, when he unexpectedly extended a finger and gently poked her wrist, where the skin was visible. Anna appeared taken aback by the contact, then turned to the man with a look of concern. However, observing the smile on his face as if everything was perfectly fine caused Anna's heart to race unexpectedly. Kitty felt a sense of concern as she surveyed the expansive city of Hypixel. All around her, numerous individuals with square features engaged in laughter and conversation as they moved in unison. The issue arose when the friend she anticipated encountered challenges with crowds, leading her to think that her friend had abandoned her. Fortunately, after a brief wait, she spotted a female character who unmistakably belonged to her friend. Long reddish-brown hair featuring a white streak on each side, complemented by a black outfit. It was undoubtedly her friend. Hello Anna, may I ask where you have been? Kitty inquired upon reaching her. I was conversing with a gentleman, Anna remarked with a smile, gently extending her fingertip to make contact with Kitty's arm. At first, Kitty contemplated whom Anna might have encountered, until she sensed Anna's finger making contact with her arm, which felt somewhat unusual. This sensation quickly escalated to a state of surprise as her gaze shifted between Anna's finger and her face. Are you touching me? Kitty exclaimed, her voice filled with emotion as she felt Anna's square fingers make contact with her arm. Without hesitation, Kitty extended her arms and embraced Anna warmly. How are you achieving this? Have your abilities been diminished in this game as well? Anna responded with a smile. Indeed, recall the individual I mentioned I was conversing with. He tapped my shoulder to indicate where I could modify my appearance, and I was significantly more surprised than you. This is remarkable. Everyone will be very enthusiastic about this news. Let's go meet them, Kitty stated as she took Anna's hand and guided her to where the rest of the group was gathered. Upon arriving at the location of the rest of the group, Anna was taken aback by the sight before her. All the other X-Men wore joyful smiles, mirroring her own expression. Scott expressed satisfaction in being able to play without the need for glasses, Kurt appreciated having skin similar to that of other humans, and Jean found contentment in not hearing the thoughts of those around them. Following their discussion regarding the joy of having their powers disabled in this world, the X-Men seemed to overlook the primary purpose of their visit, which was to engage in play together. They were so engrossed in their discussions and exploration of Hypixel that they completely overlooked the time, until something finally captured their attention. All Minecraft players encountered a screen suspended before them displaying unfamiliar text. Regardless of whether these players are engaged in multiplayer or single-player mode, all have received this notification. Announcing a new world event. Kurt, intrigued, clicked on the screen and observed an explanatory text materializing before him. Global event. Defeat the Ender Dragon. The realm of Minecraft is recognized for its stunning landscapes populated by various creatures across different dimensions. For instance, while the overworld features skeletons, the Nether is home to wither skeletons. Have you ever contemplated the origins of the Endermans? This creature does not come from the overworld. Rather, it hails from a dimension known as the End, which is safeguarded by a formidable void dragon. The villagers are seeking assistance from the humans to defeat the formidable Ender Dragon. Participants who successfully defeat the Ender Dragon by the conclusion of the event will be awarded a limited cloak featuring the dragon's visage, along with a key to access the expansive Hypixel portal for an alternative game mode. Participants who do not defeat the Ender Dragon by the conclusion of the event will forfeit the opportunity to obtain the cape. However, the key will remain accessible. Adjacent to the large portal in Hypixel, there is an altar designated for players to place an egg. Once an egg is laid, the player has the opportunity to select 4 individuals to also gain access to the new game mode. Time remaining: 6 days, 23 hours, 59 minutes, 46 seconds. Kurt was taken aback by this advertisement. Previously, there was only speculation regarding the existence of a dragon in the game. However, it has now been confirmed that a dragon does indeed exist. Players who successfully defeat the dragon will have the opportunity to receive a limited cape as a reward from the game's inaugural event. Kurt's smile brightened at the thought of him showcasing this cape to other players in the future. "Isn't this dragon the one we intended to defeat?" Jean inquired, a look of confusion on her face after reading the game message. "Indeed, that is the plan. Let us proceed to the server I acquired, where I will instruct you on the fundamentals, and we can embark on our quest to defeat this dragon," Kurt stated with enthusiasm. "Let's proceed," Kitty exclaimed enthusiastically, as she thoroughly enjoyed her time with Minecraft. The other X-Men observed with some confusion the unexpected joy exhibited by these two, as it was their inaugural experience with a game of this nature, and they were unaware of the strategic benefit derived from possessing a limited item from the initial event. If they had been aware that a cover like this could fetch tens of thousands of dollars, their excitement would likely have surpassed that of Kurt and Kitty. At that moment, Naruto was seated at his computer, observing with a content smile the players' responses to the inaugural event he was orchestrating in the world of Minecraft. Naruto observed with a pleased expression the players' responses to the initial event he was orchestrating in the world of Minecraft. Naruto recognized that Minecraft faced a significant issue. The game lacks a defined quest line, resulting in new players being unclear about the game's objectives. Consequently, many tend to engage in free exploration for a period before ultimately discontinuing their play. The issue was addressed in Naruto's previous world once players realized that there is indeed an objective in the game, specifically, defeating the Ender Dragon. However, defeating the Ender Dragon requires players to engage in extensive preparation beforehand and to uncover certain items that may have previously been unknown to them. With Minecraft boasting over 1,000 active players, Naruto aimed to accelerate engagement by motivating players to defeat the Ender Dragon. This initiative would prompt players to delve deeper into the game mechanics, fostering a greater understanding of progression. Consequently, this could lead to the creation of a comprehensive game wiki, while also offering a rewarding incentive for those who achieve success. This approach is poised to become one of the most successful minigames inspired by Naruto's previous world. The Dragon Egg will serve as the inaugural item eligible for shipping between the single-player world and the multiplayer world. In Naruto's former world, the Dragon Egg held no significance. However, in his Minecraft realm, it will function as a crucial element that players will find challenging to acquire. With these modifications, we hope that players will invite friends to play our game modes together. We guarantee that the benefits will be more than you could have imagined, and that Minecraft will be as amazing as it was the first time you played. The news startled Fury. If what the game says is real, which he has no doubt after playing it, word of mouth will skyrocket. Son of a bitch, Fury erupted inside his office. As a bald man screamed in wrath in an office, Naruto chuckled with delight as he noticed the option the system had provided him. He could purchase the Minecraft cape and potions in return for gaming points, but what astonished him the most was the fact that he could give these items out to users. He may determine how these items were distributed, and the awards, gaming points value remained unchanged. But who said Naruto had to pay for these gaming points? Players might pay for it themselves. Naruto discovered that he could get 2 bottles of potion for 1 gaming point, which astonished him even more when he remembered the cost of the sandwich he had purchased. That meant that each potion bottle cost $100. Naruto was willing to charge players $50 for the potion bottle, while he would pay the remaining $50, which he was confident players would pay. Damn, even if I charged $1,000 for each bottle these players would want to pay. Naruto remarked, angry, as he glanced at his shirtless physique in the mirror. He drank a strength potion to see how it would work, and the results exceeded his expectations. Each potion increased the user's strength by 0.1 points, and since the system said that the average strength of an adult is 10 points, each potion is akin to enhancing an average person's strength by 1%. It may not seem like much to boost someone's strength by 1%, but consider this. If someone stays in the top 20 for 4 weeks in 3 months, their strength will increase by 12%. Naruto knew that the competition for these parts would be severe, as no one wanted to pass up this opportunity. With this, gamers may invite their friends to play duo with them, resulting in more players, more comments, and, ultimately, more people coming to play. As much as Naruto would spend $2,000, 10 gaming points per week, which is currently a wonderful deal, this will become inconsequential in a few months as more and more players join the Minecraft VIP, even if only for the monthly subscription. VIP Naruto will be able to spend these gaming points for the potions and make a huge profit. I could charge more for these potions, but I am a trustworthy game developer that does not wish to exploit my players. I don't want to be an EA someday. Naruto sighed as he stopped looking at his own muscles in the mirror. The potion's effect on him after taking just 1 was minor, only slightly increasing the circumference of his arm, but after taking 10, Naruto noticed that his arm had grown significantly. If he was once an ordinary young man, he now resembles a young man who has trained for nearly a year. Best of all, he didn't have to put in any effort, only spend money and drink potions. If I recall correctly, Minecraft was a huge hit in my previous world, even when I was still in alpha. Why isn't it selling as well in this world? All of the players who tried it were thrilled with it. Naruto sighed, unable to fathom the rationale. He had no idea that the world's largest security agency was feverishly attempting to cover up his game for the rest of the globe because he was unaware of its existence. That notwithstanding, Naruto accessed Ned's webcam to see what the child was up to. Peter, beware of the ghasts. If they attack you, use your sword to send their fireball flying back. Ned yelled to another player who was with him in the nether. The livestream's title was "The King Will Become a Dragon Slayer." Naruto was delighted by Ned's behavior, but shocked to see his pal in the game. As much as Ned's companion wore iron armor in the game to protect himself, Naruto was taken aback by the iron armor the boy wore below. More specifically, Ned's pal's skin was someone Naruto admired much, Iron Man. When Naruto noticed other people with Captain America skins, he assumed it was a coincidence that the gamers here also enjoyed Marvel movies, which became even clearer when he spotted this player with the Iron Man skin. Hehe, Iron Man is a cool hero. It's good to know that this planet isn't too different from the present world. Perhaps the comic books here are similar. Naruto puzzled as he saw 2 lads attempt to break into a nether fortress. Until a fantastic notion struck Naruto's mind. Naruto smiled as he entered Minecraft as another character. Instead of logging into the Notch account, Naruto chose to use his favorite character. This character's appearance was identical to Steve's, except for the eyes. While Steve had blue eyes, Naruto's skin lacked a pupil, leaving only the white area of the eyes, making everything even more terrifying. Herobrine, that was the name of Naruto's account, and with a smirk on his face, he resolved to have fun while teasing the other players. To accomplish this, he concealed the namer tag from other players and used previously unknown sounds to create a dark mood in Minecraft. Many players had already been tormented by Herobrine in the real world, leading many to wonder if this was true or if it was simply a troll attempting to fool others. But in this universe, both alternatives are correct, both Herobrine exist, and it is a troll who wants to have fun with the gamers. Naruto pushed the button to connect to Ned's server. Ned was pleased to be able to play with his pal Peter. Peter had little money left over after using his internship money at Stark Industries to help Aunt May pay the house bills, so Ned used the livestream's money to buy Minecraft for his friend. Peter was overjoyed to be able to play Minecraft, but what astonished Ned the most was how skillfully he played. Strangely, Peter had excellent reflexes. He could spot monsters readily and had a lot of maneuverability to dodge assaults or parkour about the map. Peter, Blaze's spawns are up front. Don't destroy the spawns, let's kill the Blazes to get the items they drop first, as we need it to find the dragon's lair. Ned said warmly to Peter. He wanted to be one of the players who finished Minecraft in that short amount of time to receive the restricted cape. He didn't entirely grasp how the cape might be sent to him in the real world, but he assumed the game firm would ship it to people by mail. He had only started live streaming today, but with 300 views in the first minute, the number was quickly increasing to his average of 1.2k viewers. This was a number that Ned could not have imagined, especially since he received no publicity from the site, thus all of these people came from other people recommending it or from others searching for random livestreams on the site. Come on, Ned. Let us be the first to kill the dragon, Peter exclaimed, laughing as he ran down the Nether Fortress. Yes, King Ned and Knight Peter will go first. Mawahahaha, Ned yelled, pointing his sword up and laughing beside Peter. But, as they were slaying the Blazes, something unexpected occurred. Ned, did you call someone else? Peter inquired, little scared. No, why? Ned was puzzled. I think I saw a person on the other side of the Nether Fortress, Peter stated hesitantly. Someone else. You must have confused it for a pigman, which is normal. Ned responded carelessly. They continued to slay the Blazes until Peter noticed this figure again, but this time a little closer. It was Steve, like the other players, but he had no name on top of his head, and his eyes shone white. Who are you? Peter yelled at the individual, scaring Ned once again. But the individual vanished before Ned could notice it, as Peter's eyes blinked. Peter, what is going on? Why are you yelling? I just told you. Dude, it's just a pigman. Ned expressed his anger at being terrified. No Ned, it was a Steve. Peter responded seriously. A Steve? Yeah, he was looking at us while his eyes sparkled. Peter explained. Meanwhile, the chat participants were equally perplexed. Is anyone logged into the server? There was no indication in the conversation indicating that someone had connected. Perhaps it's simply a bug. But Peter reported it appeared twice. It would be strange if it was a duplicate bug. Guys, is there a ghost? Is there a ghost? Minecraft isn't a horror game. But, aren't ghasts ghosts? There are zombies and skeletons, and ghosts are not impossible. You are correct. The number of people watching began to increase as the mystery emerged. There are now 1,400 watchers, up from 800 earlier. Peter, the chat people are thinking it's a ghost, is that it? Ned asked. A ghost? Could be. Peter spoke uncertainly. For the next few minutes, that entity did not appear, allowing Peter, Ned, and chat to rest. Until suddenly, as they walked around the Nether Fortress seeking for loot, everything went black. A horror tune with a female voice began playing in the background, adding to the eerie atmosphere. Have you seen Herobrine roam the globe in the default skin? Though he was removed, he will rise again. Watching you from a distant beach. He will come back stronger than before. When darkness falls, he will undoubtedly strike. Ned panicked. He was scared of horror games, and what was going on now was identical to what had happened in horror games before the protagonist died. "Peter, run to the portal," Ned yelled in desperation, dismissing all the chests he could get. "He waits in the fog. Even to these present dates, if you go against him, you will face your fate. Watch your back. You know where he hides. He can approach you from all angles. Miner, beware, he will never die." Peter was likewise terrified and began racing behind Ned to cross the portal back to the overworld. The portal was in a beautiful green forest, so they knew that once they passed through it, this ghost would no longer exist. However, Ned and Peter were taken aback by their surroundings. The forest, which had once been lush and beautiful with numerous leaves on the trees to provide shade, was now utterly dry. The trees lost their leaves, and now all that's left are the square trunks standing tall. What really freaked them out the most was what they could see from a distance. A player wearing Steve's skin was standing there, watching them with bright white eyes. He stood there like a statue, completely still, surrounded by the trees in the forest. Ned and Peter were frozen too. They've never felt this scared in a game before, not ever. It's mostly because Minecraft doesn't really have that game-like appearance, so encountering something so frightening in real life was super scary for them. Out of nowhere, a bolt of lightning struck down from the sky. So, when the lightning struck the ground, it was like the leaves on the trees just magically went back to how they were before. And that player who was watching from a distance, they just vanished. During Ned's livestream, there were 3,400 people who were shocked. "What the heck?" Ned voiced his thoughts, feeling both confused and scared. "I'm not really sure." Peter mentioned that he was confused too. So, in Ned's livestream chat, things were a bit confusing for the viewers. "Everyone, what's going on? Wow, I'm really at a loss here. Minecraft is a horror game too. What movie is this?" Just so you know, this isn't a movie, it's actually a game called Minecraft, and you can find it on Steam. This is a game. I really felt like I was watching a horror movie. Did anyone get what that song was about? I heard some talk about Herobrine, and some really confusing stuff. Is Herobrine the name of this player? Is this a player? I really thought it was a monster. Could this be a monster from Minecraft? It's definitely a possibility, especially since he had his own music. People were throwing around all sorts of theories about what was going on with Ned. Some were wondering if it was a hacker, while others thought it might be a monster. People actually clipped that part of the livestream and began sharing it on other sites so others could check out what they experienced too. This topic blew up and started trending in just a few hours. Herobrine. What a mystery. Is it a movie, a game, a monster, or maybe even a ghost? Honestly, no one really knows. That post about Herobrine really blew up and got the most views. So, Shield was really trying hard to stop users from getting to these articles. But you know what? When it comes to anything about Minecraft, it seemed like nothing could be wiped away. The best they could do was just make sure these publications weren't getting recommended by the site's algorithms. But that didn't hold back other players from sharing links with their friends so they could join in and check it out. The publication had already hit over 100,000 views and was climbing quickly. There were a lot of different comments. Is there a new movie in the works? What's up with the characters being square? I have to say, it's kind of strange seeing these square characters, but their animations are super realistic. The developers of this movie must have really invested a lot in motion capture for it. Hey everyone, just a heads up, this isn't a movie, it's actually a game called Minecraft. You can check it out on Steam if you're curious and want to give it a go. This isn't just a cutscene from the game, it's the real gameplay. A game. I'll take a look. Out of nowhere, a comment popped up on this post that gave players a bit of relief. Just a quick note about a minor update for Minecraft. Herobrine's been taken out. Some players who weren't familiar with Herobrine found themselves a bit puzzled and decided to look it up to figure out what this removed Herobrine was all about. Once they discovered what it actually was, they were pretty relieved to learn that it had been taken out of the game. Wow, that was really scary. If I were playing and this happened to me, I think I would have had a heart attack. I'm really relieved that Herobrine didn't pop up while I was playing. Wow, I really wanted to check out this Herobrine for myself, he seemed so awesome. Me neither. Playing a horror game on Minecraft sounds like a blast. Has anyone come across a server that has this theme? I'm thinking about switching my Minecraft skin to the Herobrine skin, hehe. So, the next day when Naruto hopped onto Hypixel, he noticed a bunch of players rocking these Herobrine-like skins. Sure, their eyes were different. Herobrine's eyes had no pupils and glowed, while players just had white pupils. But that was all they needed to have a good time. A bunch of players wanted to snap some pics with those folks in Herobrine skins to share on social media. Naruto saw that Minecraft sales had really shot up lately. So, yesterday there were 1,900 units sold, but today, it jumped to 7,000 units. That's quite a leap. To keep things from getting too chaotic on Hypixel, Naruto set it up so that only players who have spent 2 hours in single-player mode can jump into multiplayer mode. This way, the number of players in Hypixel stays a bit more manageable. Honestly, the best publicity for the game usually comes from the players themselves. Honestly, if I had gone the route of paid advertising, I doubt it would have pulled in as many people. But by creating a bit of mystery for the players, they naturally started sharing the game with their friends. Naruto smiled as he soared over the Hypixel. The vibe among the players was really great. You had a bunch of them diving into Hunger Games and build battle, while others were giving their all to take down the Ender Dragon. And then there were the casual players, just chilling in the lobby, chatting with friends and having a blast exploring the big city on the server. Seeing everyone so happy, Naruto felt it was worth it to develop Minecraft. Just like a cook feels joy when people enjoy the dishes they've prepared, a game developer experiences that same happiness when they see others having fun with the games they've created. After a bit, Naruto noticed someone familiar wandering through the city of Hypixel, looking curious and a bit shy. With a grin on his face, Naruto zipped into an alley that was clear of Hypixel and reappeared. As Naruto strolled through town, he just happened to run into the person he had seen earlier. Anna jumped a bit when someone bumped into her, but when she saw who it was, she relaxed. "Notch," she said with a smile. "Anna, what a coincidence," Notch said, smiling. "Absolutely. I was trying to find the banner to buy VIP, but with all the new faces around, I felt a bit uneasy," she mentioned while scratching the back of her neck. "Oh sure, no problem. It's just a few meters that way. If you'd like, I can walk with you there." With a smile, Notch reached for her. Anna was a bit taken aback by his behavior. Even after playing Minecraft for a few days, she still wasn't quite comfortable with physical contact. After all, habits built over a few years don't just vanish in a matter of days, and she knew she had to keep that habit going in the real world. She decided to embrace the experience of holding a man's hand while strolling around town for the first time. With her cheeks a bit flushed, Anna took Notch's hand and followed him, relishing the feeling. They strolled from their spot to the VIP banner in 3 minutes, but for Anna, it felt like just 3 seconds. During that time, they didn't exchange any words, but the silence felt nice and cozy for both of them. Wow, Anna really hasn't had any contact with a guy like that in ages, except for her first boyfriend. Remember him? She left him in a coma after just 1 kiss. Well, Naruto really had a tough time with dating, huh? Sakura turned him down every single time. So, here we are. Notch smiled at Anna as he spoke. "Thanks a lot." She gave him a smile that Naruto thought was really cute. "Anna, wait, what?" a voice exclaimed, clearly taken aback. "Do you know me?" Anna asked, a bit confused, as she watched a man with long hair pacing back and forth. "Oh, you're the public school teacher." Notch smiled as he recognized the man. "Oh, you're the public school teacher." Notch smiled as he recognized the man. When Charles heard Notch say that, he felt a bit confused for a moment. Then it hit him. He hadn't shared his real identity with Notch, which probably led Notch to believe he was just your average public school teacher. "Notch, what a surprise to see you here." Charles smiled as he spoke. "Same here." Notch responded with a relaxed smile. Charles was feeling a bit anxious around this player, thinking that they might actually be the game's creator, which would mean they were someone really powerful. He had come across a lot of powerful beings on his journey around the world. From strong mutants to impressive humans, he even heard tales of some entities with abilities that far surpassed the ordinary, like demons. To create a world like this, that Notch must have some serious power, probably on par with a demon or something people would consider godlike. Even though gods might seem like they belong in a fantasy world, Charles has done quite a bit of research on Apocalypse, who was viewed as a god himself. So, for him, this idea isn't too hard to wrap his head around. Luckily, it seems like Notch wasn't out to get people like Apocalypse was, so Charles wasn't ready to see him as an enemy just yet. "Oh, I had no idea you were in on this as well, Professor." Anna cut into Charles's thoughts with a look of surprise. "Just like you have your flaws taken care of here, I do too." Charles smiled, stretched his legs, and pointed at it. When he found out that Anna and Scott had so much freedom in Minecraft, he felt really happy. After all, he had tried so hard to help his two students, and while he managed to design the glasses for Scott, he hadn't come up with anything for Anna yet. "Oh, is he your teacher?" Notch raised an eyebrow in surprise and asked. "Sure." Anna gave a little smile as she replied. She really enjoyed her time at the school for mutants, but she still felt nervous about sharing her mutant identity with regular humans, worried about the possibility of facing backlash because of it. So, Minecraft got the green light. Naruto smiled a bit as he glanced at the professor. "Yeah, so far there's nothing dangerous in the game, and since the school I teach at is for special kids, it's really great to see them acting normally in the game." Charles smiled back at Notch. "That's great. It really makes me smile to see so many people playing too." Notch said, smiling. "So, I've got some stuff to handle. Hope you enjoy yourself." "Bye, Notch," Anna said with a smile. "See you later, Notch." Charles said his goodbyes too. Right after Notch walked away, Anna looked a bit worried as she made her way over to Charles. "Teacher, do you think it's alright if we let him know we're from a school for special children? He's one of the rare normal folks who actually treats me well." Charles grinned at Anna's worry. "Anna, no need to stress. From our chats, he doesn't really seem like someone who cares about that stuff. Plus, the way he treats me makes it seem like he thinks I'm just a public school teacher." "Oh, that's nice." Anna flashed another smile before making her way to the VIP banner. Charles caught sight of Anna's smile and let out a little sigh. He was aware that his students generally felt happy at the school for mutants he had created, but still, their concerns were always quite clear. It was pretty rare to see Anna smile, but ever since she got into Minecraft, those smiles have been happening more often. It's even made Charles rethink some of his beliefs. "I've been really anxious about this game, but it just wouldn't be fair to keep students from enjoying Minecraft. It's a space where they can just be themselves, without the fear of being discovered as mutated. When will people stop viewing us as something negative?" He felt a bit down as he pondered. So, while all that was happening, Kurt, Kitty, Scott, and Jean had already opened a portal to the Nether and were busy taking down blazes to gather enough materials to track down the dragon. They were all decked out in full diamond armor and had really honed their skills with the game mechanics to fight pretty safely. "Do you know when Anna is going to show up?" Kitty asked, a bit out of breath, as she took in Nether's warm air. She mentioned she was planning to grab a cape at Hypixel to look nicer in the photo we're going to snap after taking down the dragon. Kurt responded while he was tidying up his backpack. "Wait, what?" Kitty and Jean exclaimed in surprise that it hadn't crossed their minds. "We need to go too." The two girls shouted before logging off from Kurt's server to head over to Hypixel and grab some capes for the photo, leaving just Kurt and Scott behind. "Do you think girls are behaving a bit differently lately?" Kurt looked at Scott, clearly puzzled. "You really don't get it, do you?" Scott let out a sigh as he settled into a corner of the Nether fortress. "What?" Kurt asked, looking puzzled. "So you've got that watch the professor made to help you blend in, but honestly, we're facing quite a few restrictions out here. You know, I honestly can't recall what colors looked like before I started playing Minecraft. I was always stuck wearing those ruby glasses. And then there's Jean. She couldn't interact with anyone without picking up on their surface thoughts. As for Anna, well, I don't even need to elaborate on that one. Scott pointed to his own eyes and said, "Life here is pretty different, isn't it?" Kurt let out a sigh. "You know, in the real world, we might be viewed as monsters, but here, we're just like everyone else. It's really nice to see girls just being themselves, you know. That's what we're all about, right?" Scott smiled as he spoke. "Yeah, just wanting to fit in and be seen as normal." Kurt smiled as well. Stay tuned for more. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this video. I'm thrilled you watched the video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe for even more exciting content coming your way soon.